So at our field day in August, we went around and you know, one of the key things that we've been working on is our stockpiled forages, our winter feeding systems. So you know, the silage pit grazing, that's been one part of our system that we've been incorporating a lot. You know, it's the silage, I think, is a good tool for us. We can get it off in time. You know, we can stockpile it. It can be, you know, we can keep it for 5 or 6 years as long as we've got it covered right. So for us, that's our insurance policy. It's not what we want to fully build our system around, because I think there's better things and we've got other options that we can use. But you know, in Canada, you know, you can have some pretty harsh winters, and you want to know that whenever you go into any winter, that you've got 6-7 months worth of stockpiled feed available, whether it's in swath grazing or silage or anything like that. So you know, that's what we aim to have every year, but it doesn't mean that we have to use that feed every year. So that's where the silage comes in. We can keep it from year to year. Once we've got enough stockpiled for us, then we'll be making less and less silage and looking at other ways to get through the winter, but know that we've always got that in our pocket. Last year was the first year that we got through the winter without feeding out continuously with a tractor and the feed wagon. We were on swath grazing, those silage pits that we talked about earlier, and some bale grazing, but we're sort of building our system more and more around that swath grazing and growing those higher energy crops that can get those cattle through.
When Heather and I took over a mum and dad's cow operation, it took us 9 years to get to a cow that we don't have to worry about anymore. We don't have a plan B for our winter swath grazing. We're perennial grasses like this and winter swath grazing. In 2013, when we had that shitty winter down there, we just opened up the break fences more and gave them a little more. The 300 head get 3 acres a day, so we gave them twice as much as that. But we're getting those cattle to work for us instead of us working for the cattle. You've got to be flexible, so open that fence up a bit more and give them twice as much, because some areas the snow is not as deep, and those older cattle can show the younger cattle what to do from the word go. The first time we did it and we had some snow, we went and bought some meat horses off Irvine's, kicked them out with the cattle, and those meat horses were ploughing the swaths and the cattle were right on their ass. So it's just, you know, we didn't make anything out of the meat horses, but they taught the cattle what to do. So yeah, you got to just think outside, or ask a neighbour or someone who's in this group. You know, hopefully we all stick together and we can share ideas.
Right, so this is, we've probably stopped at, I would say, the worst part of this field. So we wanted to show you that it's, you know, we've got some fields that look like this, but this is a bit of a sandy knob here that we're on, and doesn't grow the most feed, and that's basically the reason why we've got a silage pit set up here. So if we get a congestion of nutrients or anything within this area, then you know it's going to add fertility to the ground. So this is pretty common on what these pits look like. So they're 6-7 feet high, and we'll have a permanent electric fence on the south side, and the actual wire will run along the longer side of the face for this one, and that way we can get more cattle on there. So the two sides will be, you know, permanent high tensile. We'll do 3 wires, 3 or 4. 3 is probably enough, and then we'll have the wire across the face of the pit is the turbo braid, so it's the thicker electric wire, and then we'll use those fiberglass rods, and then we'll adjust it on that fence with those 3 different wires as opposed to which height it's on. And we'll put a back fence that we have up across it, so if they break for some reason they get past the first fence, power goes down, they get over it, there's a fence behind it that's hopefully going to stop them so they don't walk over the whole pit. But yeah, having good fence units and good power is what you need. These are the fiberglass rods that will poke into the face of the pit. So basically, yeah, if the cattle knock these out for any reason, you know, we're not going to have shorting on the ground or anything. They're pretty good. So we'll stick these straight in this way into the face, and then we'll just keep moving them in as we need to, and depending on, we'll move them up and down too. But basically having them just above my knee anyway, is about ideal. So those cattle will reach up over the top and they'll reach underneath. So if we've got it about a foot away from the face, any feed that gets dropped as they pull it out of the face will fall between the wire and the face of the pit, and that's where they'll get it on the ground. So they're not actually going to stand on it and waste it. So yeah, we just monitor that basically every day. They'll get pushed in a little bit, but you know, we can feed a lot of cows pretty quickly. Someone will turn up here, move their brake fence on the swath, and then, you know, adjust the silage pit fence. You know, they'll push it in. They'll feed 300 cows and be out of here in probably 10 minutes. So yeah.
This is what I use for my winter swath grazing too. I got a PVC tube and made a sling out of it, and I can put about 18 or 20 of these into the tube, and then I've just got a cordless drill with a masonry bit on the end, and I got the longest masonry bit I could find, so I didn't have to bend over so far, and I just have my reel in this hand, and I'm reeling out, and I pull a post out, and then I drill a hole and then stick her in, thread the wire through, and just keep going. So I have 2 fences on the go. I roll up one fence, leapfrog the one that's there, and then set it up behind the one that they're going to graze off for the swaths. But these things are so bloody light, but you can't break them. They're freaking amazing stuff, and they can take a lot of pressure. But these things are really versatile, and if you're having issues, you can put as many of these rings on the spring clips as you want, and then you can have hot, cold, hot, or whatever going all the way down here, so you can multi-fence it as well. And I just find the ones for me, the plastic ones, they seem to break really on really cold days, but I've found a solution with these fiberglass that Gallagher have.
So on a pit that's about say 100 feet long, we'll quite comfortably have about 250 head on that pit. Yeah. Because we're doing the grazing and stuff as well, we can probably up that rate a little bit, but we try not to get over mobs of 300 pairs. That 200 to 250 is about ideal for what we're doing. Our wastage is very minimal. A lot of people think, you know, you're going to be wasting a lot of feed, but if you select the correct place to put your pit, so you know you can get a bit of runoff on a little bit of a knob or a sandy knob where you might need some extra nutrients anyway, then you know it's actually been working really well, and the ground's rock solid, and your face is always moving. So you know, the cattle are always getting a fresh face. They're not mucking it up. They reach under the electric wire and basically graze the face really well. So as long as you're putting up good quality feed, then you know your utilisation will be really good. So that's a big part of it. But you know, also that's a winter feeding system. But if we go into a dry scenario, then we've got ourselves covered for a drought scenario too. They both go hand in hand. So we're reducing our tractor usage, we're reducing our labour, we're reducing a lot of expenses by doing that. You know, I figure out that we can actually waste about 20% of that feed before it's, you know, we're financially, I guess, losing. And then we could look at, compared to going out with a tractor or the feed wagon, burning diesel. And a big part of what we're trying to do on our farm is reduce our carbon output and sequester as much as we can. So if we're burning diesel, then you know we're making carbon, and we're kind of pushing and pulling with the system that we're trying to create. So you know we want to look at ways of cutting that out. So last winter, the winter of 2015, 2016, we fed all our cattle on our farm without the use of a tractor or a feed wagon or anything. So we fed 3,500 head that way, cows, calves, and our finishing stock, all without the need for a tractor. So it was a good winter, but we were also able to take advantage of it being a good winter too. So we were set up, we were ready to go. Sure, it's a good winter, brilliant, and we didn't use a tractor. But a big part of that is growing quality feed, so that you can feed your cattle in the harsher winters. You know, they're able to utilise whatever feed you're growing, whether it's silage or whether it's swath grazing.